Hello, hello. Happy Thursday, and welcome to your mini training on the solar plexus and the sacral chakra. For those of you who haven't met me, I am Amber Meyer, and I'm a soul alignment coach. I specialize in intuitive life coaching, the Akashic Records, and angel and energy healing. So I'm very excited to continue to talk with you about your energy body. It's a really fun topic for me. And so far in these little mini trainings, we've talked about your energy body overall, your aura, your chakras, the meridians, how they all work together and to support you. And then we've also talked about your root chakra and the importance of grounding. And then I also shared a grounding and root chakra healing meditation with you. And so today I want to continue the conversation and move up to the next couple chakras, the sacral chakra and your solar plexus chakra. Hey Lisa, big hearts to you too. I missed you already. I think it's been 2 weeks now since I've seen you. And Chantel, hello, hello. Joanna, so good to see you. Thanks for saying hi to me. So, as a reminder, the chakras by definition are energy centers in our body that help regulate how energy flows through our body. And so they really help us regulate all of our functions: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual functions. And so you'll see the same thing with your sacral and solar plexus that they oversee different physical functions of your body as well as mental, emotional, and spiritual as well. Hey, Francis, thanks for joining. Awesome to see you. Jane's here too. Good afternoon. So, the chakras that we're talking about so far are often what people call your lower chakras. So, your first, second, and third chakras are your root, your sacral, and your solar plexus. And the reason they call these your lower chakras, other than just they're lower in your body, is that they're really the chakras that oversee the function of more of your physicality of being a human. And then your heart's really kind of that portal, that center that is between your spirit and your body. And so that's oftentimes where you hear, in different meditations and spiritual practices that you get into your heart center, because it's literally a portal between your body, where you're at, and spirit. And then the rest of your chakras, your throat, your third eye, and your crown are considered your upper chakras. So those have usually more to do with your spiritual health as well. Hey Jane, thanks for joining. Good to see you. So let's first talk about your sacral chakra. And so if you're not familiar with your sacral chakra, this is also oftentimes called your second chakra. And it's located a couple inches below your belly button or your navel. And most people perceive this energy center as orange. And if this energy center were to have like its own personal mantra, it would say, I am creative. And so it's really known as like your creative center, center of creation. And this is also what I think one of the most important things to remember about this chakra is that it governs your emotions. So it's really the seat of your emotions. And so when it comes to intuitive development, it's important to know that this is really where your clairsentience sits. And so clairsentience again means clear feeling. So those of you who really identify as a strong empath and can like really easily feel people's emotions or feel physically what they have going on in their body, likely means that you have at least an open and healthy, if not overactive, sacral chakra, that you're able to feel all of that within your body. I also I work a lot with angels, and so I also tend to work with different angels in different chakras as well. And so in case you're interested, I also work a lot with Archangel Haniel in the sacral chakra, just because it's such a intuitive, clairsentient center. Oh, good. I'm glad that resonates with you, Chantal. Awesome. And so, like every chakra, it has lots of key functions. And what you'll also notice with some of the chakras is that sometimes you'll see a little bit of overlap with some of them that are close to each other. So you're going to see some things that in the sacral that might actually be similar to the root or to the solar plexus in some ways too. So there can be a little bit of overlap. But some of the key functions of the sacral chakra is that it really represents our connection to other people, whether it's healthy or not, but also our connection to ourselves. It also represents our creativity, our overall kind of like life force energy, and it can also indicate our sexual health as well. And so this is really the center of creativity, feelings, emotions, sensuality, pleasure, intimacy, connection. It's a big connection chakra. And so if you're ever going through life and you feel completely disconnected from others around you, this would be the chakra that you would want to look at. And so it also can carry blame and guilt. It can govern the relationship that you have with money and sex. And also, it can hold your ethics and the honor that you have in relationships as well. Hey, Lisa, Kate, Christina, thanks for all for joining in. So, I like to consider this like the center of creation. And so, even if you think about where this chakra is located, it's almost like it's where your womb is. Whether you're in a woman's body or a man's body in this lifetime, really that's kind of the center of where it's at. And so, we literally can create children with the organs that this chakra governs, but it also really governs our creativity and really like our other creations that we put out into the world, whether it's something that we do through our job, art, music, projects, those sorts of things. So almost like our babies that we create and let out into the world, whether they're physical babies or not. And so also as a reminder with all of our energy body and our chakras is that we hold stuck energy or emotions or trauma in different chakras as well. And so when those things start to happen, the chakras will get out of balance. And when the chakras start to get out of balance is when we start to see different challenges in our lives overall, whether they're impacting us physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. It really becomes almost like a bottleneck in your whole energy system and throws your whole system off. And so when the sacral chakra becomes imbalanced, you can really feel emotionally or physically weak because it is really where you hold a lot of your life force energy, whether it is really blocked or really open, it's going to impact you overall. And so if this chakra is blocked, you may feel depression. A big thing that can come up is feeling just like ultra super sensitive, whether emotionally or physically. You can also experience anxiety when this energy is disturbed in any way as well. You can also feel like the lack of control in relationships. And it also can result in like compulsive or obsessive behavior when the chakra is unbalanced. So some common more like psychological or emotional issues that might come up with an imbalanced sacral chakra is eating disorders, addictions. So if you find yourself, addicted to any substances, this would be a chakra that you would really want to look at. Low confidence, codependency or dependency issues in relationships, a low libido, or feeling like really unbalanced, like roller coastery emotions, like really like extreme movements in your emotions would show some imbalance there. And physical symptoms can include kidney problems, urinary tract infections or issues. It can also include chronic low back issues, which is also common in root chakras. Hip problems, any sort of issues with reproductive organs or sexual health, arthritis, anemia, low energy, problems with the intestines, like lower intestines in particular, your spleen, kidney, or gallbladder. So again, a lot of times when you look at where the location of the chakra is, it's also going to be associated with physical organs in that area as well. Hey Anissa, hey Sheila, good to see you too. So, being able to balance and open your sacral chakra can allow you to feel really energized and confident in all areas of your life. When you are balanced, you can feel really inspired and creative and just really let life flow. This is also a chakra to look at if, say, you struggle with being able to just be instead of doing all the time, like sitting and just beingness. Um, a lot of times there's something going on with this chakra that you would want to look at as well. Um, and so when this chakra is healthy, then you're really able to live in the moment and really experience the gift of that beingness in that moment. So, a lot of different traumas I have found can be held in this chakra. So any sort of like physical trauma or sexual trauma oftentimes gets stuck in this chakra. If you feel that you have had any sort of trauma that makes you feel more disconnected from your body, this is definitely an area that I would take a look at that can show up. So one thing to notice, we talk about the chakra being out of balance or in balance, but another way to describe that is an overactive chakra or an underactive chakra. So most of the time when people talk about an underactive chakra, that's what they mean by blocks. But it's actually possible for your chakras to be functioning way too highly. And so in the perfect world, all your chakras would really probably be about the same size, energy flows through them evenly, smoothly, but unfortunately that's usually not the way it works for most of us. It ends up, we create these little bottlenecks with ourselves. Like maybe we have some chakras that are really really open, and then we have some that are really kind of closed off. And so a lot of times if we have one that's closed off, it's almost like another one will jump in and overproduce to kind of make up the difference. And so if any of you have ever gone through like physical therapy, if you've had some issues with your muscles, you've probably learned all about that, where some of our muscles will like just totally shut off, and sometimes we don't even recognize it because other muscles will pick up and just like try to pick up the brunt of that work. And so our chakras do a similar thing. So an overactive sacral chakra means that you're distributing like too much energy throughout your body. And so since the sacral chakra really governs emotions, a lot of times that's that hypersensitivity that you might see. So if that chakra is kind of really gaping open, you might find yourself very, like really taking things personally, really having strong emotional reactions to things. Can be what happens when that's overactive. Just experiencing those emotions super deeply. Maybe having extreme mood swings would be another thing that could show up there. And I know I brought up more addictive behaviors before, and a lot of times that actually can happen when the chakra is really wide open too, because if you have that feeling of dissatisfaction in life, but then you're feeling it so extremely, it can lead to those addictive behaviors because you're constantly trying to fulfill yourself with external things rather than love for yourself, is where that often will come from. And so when the sacral chakra is more under functioning or blocked, that can lead to feelings of lack of control or uncertainty with your ability to cope with life's challenges, not being able to fully express your sexuality, your desire, your creativity oftentimes comes up with that too. And when it's blocked, that's oftentimes where you start to see those dependent or codependent behaviors in relationships, because you really start to lose your like sense of self and you're trying to find it in someone else. So there can be really that like a fear of pleasure, a lack of creativity, fatigue, lack of desire that happens when that chakra is blocked. There are crystals and essential oils that are also associated with each one of the chakras too. And so if you like working with crystals, you might want to look at carnelian or orange calcite. I really like hematoid too. It's a terrible name, but it's an awesome crystal. It looks kind of like carnelian actually. And actually hematite and onyx are really good for the sacral chakra as well. And if you're into essential oils, I would suggest checking out jasmine, geranium, or orange blossom. Tend to be really good ones there. So hopefully that is helpful there. So obviously just listening to like what resonates with you, like, oh, I really have a lot of challenges with most of those things, is obviously a sign of, okay, maybe I'm a bit out of balance in this one. Or if you're like, no, those really aren't issues that I struggle with, then that's a sign that this is probably a pretty healthy chakra for you as well. But another way that you can, just tune into your own chakra is just being able to tune into it more intuitively and just see kind of what feeling you get from that chakra. So I invite you all just to take a moment to do that now. When I do my internal work, I always like to close my eyes because it just helps me focus a little bit more. And I invite you just to take a breath and bring your awareness down to your sacral chakra. Again, this is just a little bit below your navel. And just ask your higher self to show you your sacral chakra. What do they want you to experience here? And maybe you'll get more of a sense of it being tight or small, or maybe a little uncomfortable. Or maybe you tune in and it feels like a big orange blossom. It feels just wide and open and clear. It feels light. So just tuning into some of those little energy feelings inside of you. And that might also give you a sense of where that chakra is. And so as I tune into mine today, mine feels a little bit tight. And so there's, different things that you can do to release this energy. I had shared a grounding and root chakra healing with you where you pull earth energy up into your root chakra. You could do the same thing but pull that into your sacral chakra. Or you could do things that would open up some creativity or some pleasure in this space. And so something you could do is just work on something to be creative just for the fun of it. Write a poem, work on a painting, create a program that you've been wanting to do, take a nice hot bath, just to bring some like pleasure to your body. Those would be things that that would help with this area. Roshni, yes, there's replays of all of these. I just go live right on the page, and so you can always scroll through this page and find any of these lives that I do. So they're always here for you. It might just take a little bit of scrolling. So hopefully you have just a sense of how open or closed this chakra is for you. So I'd like to talk about the solar plexus next then. So this is considered your third chakra, and this one is a few inches above your belly button, so closer to your diaphragm. And most people experience this chakra as yellow. And if this chakra had a mantra, it would say, I am strong, I am strength. And so this is really known as your power center. So a lot of people will call this your power chakra. And again, I associate all these different chakras with angels, and so I often work with Archangel Uriel in this energy center. If you like to work with angels too, he's a great one to call in and work with you on this energy center if you feel like this is a space that you want to do some healing. And so, like all the other chakras, this one has a lot of key functions and things that it governs. And so, again, it's really the seat of your personal power. So it's going to be your inner strength, your instincts, your gut feelings. It's also the center for yourself. So it's going to be your self-esteem, your self-discipline, self-confidence, self-respect is all going to be held in this energy center. It's also your willpower. And so it's where you carry your responsibility for making decisions. And so if decisions are easy for you or they're difficult for you, that might tell you a little bit about your current health of your solar plexus as well. It also carries your sensitivity to criticism. So it's also the core of your personality, like your identity and your ego as well. So when this chakra becomes unbalanced, you might feel pretty stressed out all the time and powerless to gain control. And so when you start to feel kind of like a victim or out of control, it could be seated in this chakra. I also find that this chakra, when it's imbalanced, you tend to be in your head a lot. So, when you get really ruminated on thoughts and stuck and stuck and stuck, it's because you're not actually using the power of this chakra. You're using your head space rather than your gut. And so your gut is kind of like a second brain in a lot of ways, that there's actually been some interesting studies on as well, that they're very connected. So you might end up becoming really mentally and physically exhausted just from putting out so much energy trying to figure things out. And you might have gut feelings, but then struggle to figure out what they actually mean. Or you might blow them off too much. And so this can also contribute to like poor memory and concentration too, just because you're kind of in that hamster wheel of thought over and over. So, common psychological or emotional issues that are associated with the solar plexus include a lack of memory and concentration. A lot of fear can come out of this chakra too. Feeling uncentered, insomnia, eating disorders, even sugar addictions can come in this one. And then the common physical issues, again, are more associated where you would imagine where your solar plexus is seated in your body. So it has a lot to do with like your digestive and intestinal disorders, indigestions, food allergies, eating disorders, any sort of issues with metabolism show up here, diabetes. It also has a lot of different skin related issues that are here too, but it's skin issues often come from like how well or not you're digesting your food, so that part does make sense there. So this one, again, like all the other chakras, it can be overactive or underactive, and again, both like being out of balance can cause you challenges. And so an overactive solar plexus actually can manifest insecurity, feelings of lack, low self-esteem, but that can show up in different ways. And so if you have a really like over-functioning solar plexus, that might actually show up as someone who might be appearing like overconfident, but a lot of times, as we know, a lot of times people really try to appear more confident than they are to make up for some of those feelings of like doubt that are underneath it. And so doubt, if you struggle with doubt, look at your solar plexus. This is, a big one there. And a blocked or under-functioning solar plexus is oftentimes if you find yourself being really like overly critical, stubborn, or controlling, or suppressing confidence, and really letting yourself fall into that doubt, that can also be with your solar plexus there too. So when it's open and balanced the way you want it to be, you're going to feel secure and confident and responsible, reliable, and it can help you feel really centered between your body and your emotions and your mind, instead of kind of stuck in one or the other. So this one also, of course, has crystals and essential oils associated with it too. And so if you're into crystals, I suggest checking out yellow citrine, amber, tiger's eye, yellow jasper, or sunstone. So another thing that you will notice is that oftentimes the stones are going to have a similar color to the chakra to be able to really to help heal that area as well. For essential oils, I would check out ginger, basil, or bergamot would be ones that I'd check out for that. So again, I'd invite you just to drop into your body for just a second. Take a breath and drop in, and bring your awareness to your solar plexus, just so you can get a sense of how this chakra is functioning for you right now. Does it feel strong and confident? Does it almost feel like shaky with anxiety? Does it feel really big? Maybe so blown open it's exhausted? Does it feel tight and small? Just any sense that you get with it. Again, you might have heard some things that you're like, oh yeah, that's something that I consistently struggle with, or not. But again, this just tapping in intuitively will give you a sense too, if you have some work to do in this chakra. And if you are a person who tends to feel a little bit ungrounded or out of body, or maybe even a rejection of the body, in general, I would take a look at all three of your lower chakras that we've talked about: your root, your sacral, your solar plexus. A lot of times, they'll when you're feeling that to an extreme, oftentimes you're experiencing some blocks in all three of those chakras as well. Sheila, you're saying solar plexus is where your work can often be. Yeah. Mine, I think, carried the weight of my root and my sacral chakra for so long. I mentioned the feeling of it being kind of just blown open and tired. Like, I feel like that's how mine's felt for a long time. It carried too much, and it made me out of balance, and definitely caused me to be like function more in my head than I wanted to as well, where that became, habitual. So doing a lot of trauma healing in my sacral and doing a lot of reconnecting to my body and the earth with the root has been so balancing for me, to allow my solar plexus to not overwork. A good mantra for the solar plexus is I am strong, or I am strength, is a good I am for the solar plexus. So of course, I'd suggest always taking really good care of your energy body. Being able to look at your aura, all of your chakras, making sure that it's all working together in harmony. And there's lots of fun ways that you can do that. You can do a lot of energy clearing on yourself. And you can also go to an energy healer and have them work on you and do some deep clearing and healing for you as well. The energy healing is one thing, but one thing to consider too is, like, if you continue to do the clearing and you go back and have some of the same issues, you really want to start to look at what's the core issue. What's the core lesson? What is that imbalance trying to teach you? And so if you do healing on yourself, you go to healers, and you just kind of keep coming back to the same thing. It means you're filling the energy with the same thoughts, the same behaviors, the same actions. And so being able to do some discovery of what underneath is causing that can be really beneficial for you too. And that's some things that you can do on your own through journaling, or you can come see a healer or a reader like myself to be able to understand what might be under the surface as well. So then you can finally make some shifts to your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors, to then get that healing that you're looking for. So what I was thinking for our next mini healing, or our next mini training, is I could do a little mini healing, group mini healing on both your sacral and your solar plexus. Would anyone like that? Does that sound like fun? We can do that. And if we have time, I could even do little, can pick a couple volunteers and do a little mini reading on one of your chakras too, to see what I'm energetically seeing in your chakra too. So stay tuned for that. We can do that in a couple of weeks. And if you feel like you're in a place where you feel like you need a full tune-up, and you're wanting to get a deeper look at what's going on in my aura, what's happening with each one of my chakras, how are they functioning with each other, and really being able to get an understanding what might be beneath it and clear some of that energy out and get back into balance, reach out to me. That's what I do in my angel healings. So if you're ready to take that step, give me a shout and we can chat about setting you up with what you need. Without further ado, I will let you get back to your Thursday. Thank you for joining me to chat about your sacral and solar plexus chakras, and stay tuned. I will get some group healings together so we can work on these chakras together. Enjoy your night. Lots of love to you. Bye.